We will spotlight the intersection of biodiversity protection and job creation and how youth-led ideas are fostering climate resilience and sustainable development in local communities. And you may ask yourself why this conversation matters. Africa is home to some of the world's richest biodiversity, but also some of its most vulnerable communities. With climate threats and biodiversity loss, young people are not just at risk, they are also the solution. Through green innovation, they are building ecosystem, creating green jobs, and securing a sustainable future. With me here today, let's meet our incredible panelist, Engineer Esther Segero, structural engineer, sustainable design advocate from Kenya. Esther Segero, please join the floor on the floor.
Thank you, Hudson. Like you've said, my name is Segero. I'm a structural engineer. I studied engineering more than 12 years ago. Later, I got my master's degree in finance and then got my diploma in sustainability and change management from the Swedish Institute. I am excited to share my story and what I have been doing for the last 12 years on sustainability, on working with women and working with youth. Just towards end of March of this year, I finished my 2-year term as the president of Women in Real Estate Kenya, and I've gained a lot of knowledge on sustainability, on building communities, both in Kenya, where I started off, in Sweden, where I studied, and now in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, where I'm working. Thank you, Hudson.
Thank you so much, Engineer Esther Segero, and congratulations for the incredible work that you do back there. And on to the next panel, I'll be having Olumide Ido from Nigeria, running incredible initiatives for the young people with regards to climate change.
Yeah, thank you very much. My name is Olumide Idowu, and I'm from Nigeria. I'm a climate advocate. I'm the executive director for International Climate Change Development Initiative. And the major focus is for us to build a climate smart generation across Africa. And we are doing this through advocacy. We do through building young generation from stage to stage, and also to make sure that we are not just advocating, but we are talking about implementation strategy that will help young people to actually understand that there's an investment opportunity in the climate space. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you so much, Olumide, for the wonderful work that you do in Nigeria and across the continent in supporting the youth voice and also being a voice of reason with regards to matters climate initiatives. On to the next panel, I'm having Na Fofo Jana, who is a consultant development communication from Global Brand Strategy and also a food security system. Na, it's a pleasure to have you on the call. Please take the floor.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, based on where you are listening or watching from. I'm Nafo Fojani from Ghana, and I'm a full-time sustainability advocate and food security communicator. I work with rural communities and farming communities where we try to build sustainable societies or communities through the food we eat and our activities that impact the environment. So thank you for having me here.
Thank you so much, Na. And I must congratulate you for the incredible work you're doing with regards to food systems and also the aspect of advocacy. On to the next panel with me is Sifa Florence Sangwa, who is a Rwandan agriculture influencer. It's an incredible moment to bring her, and it's actually my first time encountering an agriculture influencer. Sifa, please take the floor.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. My name is Sifa Florence Sangwa. I'm a farmer as well as an agricultural influencer, as you mentioned. You have a background in conservation agriculture, specialized in animal production systems. I'm passionate about sustainable farming, youth and women empowerment, and food security. Through digital platforms, I educate, inspire, and connect communities with practical climate and smart agriculture knowledge. I am also a proud member of Agricultural Influencers Network called IAN, a youth-led initiative supported by Karibu Digital and MasterCard Foundation that promotes social agriculture across Africa. Thank you so much.
Wow, thank you so much, Sifa. And we are all looking forward to connecting and interacting with your work. On to the next panel with me is Rukiatu Traore, co-founder Hero Alliance from Mali. And it's really amazing that you are really moving these conversations back there in Mali to, empower, build, and eradicate poverty, which is one of the threats that we are really trying to fight more so within the continent. And we are really glad to see that these initiatives are bearing fruits. Welcome onto the platform, and please introduce yourself.
Thank you very much, Thomas, and thank you everyone for joining us today. So, as you said, my name is Rukiatu Traore. I'm from Mali, and I have two hats. So, I'm a social entrepreneur. I'm the executive manager of Hero Alliance, a company that develops an inclusive value chain around agroforestry species for economic, environmental, and social impact. Well, we address desertification, deforestation, women poverty, and malnutrition with high value and very beneficial trees that we make women planting plants and then we commercialize across the world. And the second hat is I'm also a climate negotiator under UNFCCC, and I'm part of the African group of negotiators. Very happy to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I want to thank you all for the wonderful work that you do. Myself here, I'll be your moderator, taking you through this show. And to all the audience joining us across the world, we want to welcome you. Feel free to ask questions, but most importantly, to connect. And we look forward to having an incredible session. Besides that, I am a sustainability and policy advocate back in Nairobi, Kenya. I'm a founder of Youth Green Space Action and Network organization that mobilizes young people towards building resilient communities and also participating in climate action, more so at the local level. Most importantly, ours is to advance youth leadership in climate action, both at the local level, but also at the global stage. On this show, I'll be having my co-host, Miss Rose Omolo, who will also be, helping us more so with the sign language interpretation and also to make our conversation here safe. I'll be able to start now my first interactive question with my first panel, who's a structural engineer, Miss Engineer Esther Segero. Why would you think Africa really needs this component of green innovation? And more so when you talk about the biodiversity element today, and the issues that are rising with regards to high unemployment of young people in the continent. Should it be a critical focus more so for our continent? Should it be a key priority?
Thank you, Hudson. So before I answer your question on why biodiversity and sustainability should be a key concern for all Africans, I'd just like to do a small breakdown. When I was asked to be on this panel with other amazing people, the first thing I asked myself is, how would I describe a sustainable community? So for me, a sustainable community first is a community of shared values. The people in this community must have shared values, shared beliefs, and shared interests. And what are some of the shared values and shared beliefs? Some of them are that women will get employment, youth will get employment, we will be mindful and use sparingly our resources. We will share the same values of, in terms of ethics or frugality. to say in the list. So then when I look at the need for us to be looking at biodiversity, sustainability, and green innovation, first and foremost, I'm an African youth. When you look at the graphs where the world is going, and most African countries, the majority of the population is the youth. We are the strong ones, we are the workforce. So now, most people say that in other countries in the north, that's where the industrialization is happening. But why are we fighting for this here? It's because, first of all, we have the opportunity to correct, to self-correct very early. And so education in sustainability, education in biodiversity will help us foster that unity and those values that we very much need in our society as Africans. And as an engineer, for me, that comes in when you're looking at issues such as materials, such as how are we building, how are we creating jobs, how are we upskilling the young people. The majority of the people, the population is growing, construction will grow, infrastructure will grow. How do we go into the future not asking the correct questions first, not just looking for answers, but asking the correct questions. And this forum and this panel allows us to ask more questions or to give the young Africans that are listening in some of the answers to the questions that we have already asked and practiced. Thank you, Hudson.
Thank you so much for reminding us the aspect of education. More so for this integral phase that we are having as a continent with regards to sustainability, which education for me really plays a critical role in advancing these initiatives. And back now to my good friend Olumide. The AU Agenda 2063 clearly stipulates the role of effectively empowering and engaging various stakeholders in terms of sustainability and also various policy framework. What's the status and how can we really be proud as a continent to say that the young people are really or fully engaged in terms of their involvement in climate action and policy? And do their voices really matter? And if so, how?
Yes, thank you very much for that question. And it is very important that we know that policy formation, policy advocacy are some of the ways that young people can actually amplify their voices. And it's another way for them to actually see how they can make their government more accountable when it comes to realizing actions and making action work towards the better future for themselves. But I will quickly share that it is very important for us to know that the youth of nowadays, we are the guardians of our planet future, and through different kind of innovative thinking and action is what can actually transform our local challenges into our sustainable solutions. So when you look at the issue of policy, the kind of state we find it now is that a lot of our leaders have not been able to, it's not only by giving the table, but by also adding them to implementation strategy and communication aspect of climate and resilience. And when we empower young people, to lead sustainability efforts or to lead conversation around policies, not only foster resilience, but also it helps us to build a community that ignites a passion, for protecting our environment and the generations to come. So we need to start looking at how the young voices unite for climate action, how they can create a powerful force for change, and how they can provide, a smallest action that can lead to significant impact on our planet Earth. So the kind of policy that we have that is supposed to drive action for young people now is not what we are seeing reflecting into the actions that we are doing, but rather is making us to be quiet, is suppressing the power of young people. Even though I can say that we've seen a lot of young people across the continent that are actually doing more to make sure that policy advocacy, policy representation, policy improvement is working towards for them. But I will end by saying that it is very key for us to understand that youth participation, even in policy across Africa, is gaining momentum. But we need that chances. We need that not only table, but we need implementation action that will back young people up to be making sure that we start, creating a table of opportunity, creating an opportunity that will drive innovation and investment opportunity for young people. Thank you very much.
Wow, I really love the aspect of, integrating local policy, integrating local solutions with policies that are centric to the local needs. And, just getting back to you still, can we say the policies that are being developed or, enhanced or shared with regards to the African needs, do they really matter, or do they really work for us, or they speak for other interests?
Yeah, I would say that Africa as a continent, we actually have fantastic policies that have a lot of punch words in it. Mm-hmm. But how is that translating into investment opportunity for young people? How is that translating to solving economic growth, economic problem for young people? Because I keep saying this, the clothes we wear, the house we sleep, and the food we eat actually makes us who we are. Because if we don't have those three things, how do you now say that the policy we have that is looking fantastically well on paper is translating to opportunities for young people? Because entrepreneurship mind is when you make your returns and you're able to put it back to your business and you'll be able to grow with it. So the policy we have now, good on paper, but we need to start looking at how can we not only provoke, how can we championing a policy that is locally driven and can be able to channel to making young people to have stage to stage of opportunity while they grow in the space. So it is very key for us to start expanding our knowledge, learn more, understand the lines of those policies so that it is not going to affect us when we are translating it to our local champions or our local communities to drive growth. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And now back to for Jani. You being a food ecosystem enthusiast, but also an agripreneur, you know very well that majority of the African population hugely depend on agriculture. According to your analysis and also the policies that have been advanced, do you think it's high time that we as a continent begin to think of how to rebrand agriculture as a system of, youth involvement, and how can we make it more appealing, more so to the young people who feel that this aspect of engagement is more demeaning, and majority of the young people, resorting to white-collar jobs? Is it time to shift the attitude, or, what should we do as a continent to avert this crisis, which is gonna hamper or, results to food insecurity in the continent?
Okay, so actually, it's not majority of Africans that rely on agriculture. In fact, everyone, whether you are in agriculture, you are in health, you are in construction, irrespective of the field you find yourself in, you are directly or indirectly relying on agriculture because we all eat. And food is a basic need in our lives. And it is way overdue that we rebrand agriculture to make it appealing to the young African leaders. This is because, unfortunately, we see agriculture to be something reserved for young people who don't do well academically, which is so wrong. And there are some institutions where students where your punishment for, let's say, being late or doing something bad in school is go and weed in the school farm, which is so wrong. I mean, agriculture is the bedrock of our continental economic growth, whether we like it or not. Agric is broad. Let me narrow this down to food. Even food alone is broad, okay? And if we are saying, oh, I'm too clever to go into food, I'm too clever, it's so wrong, because if care is not taken, a time will come where the African continent will face food insecurity, because this mindset is a threat to sustainable food security. And when we talk of sustainability, it thrives on three thematics. That's our economic, our social activities, that's where social enterprises come in, and the environment. Okay, so what are we doing as young people? How are our activities or our attitude or our daily living contributing to enhancing sustainable food security in the continent? Let's say you hate agric, you are too clever to go into agric, but then you come from a village, and there is this village, let's say they grow coconuts. When they sell the coconut to the coconut sellers, the heart is there, is making the community dirty, and the SDG even talks about life on land. Use the knowledge to train these community people that you can actually recycle this waste into eco-friendly products like cocoa pits, like compost, like, or even charcoal, cooking coal. Okay, when you do that, you are not into agric because you are too smart to go into agric. What again? Even coconut alone, the value chain in coconut is you can do the oil, and with the oil, it can be used to, hello?
We are losing you. We are losing you.
Sure. Oh, hello?
Go ahead, go ahead.
Okay, so like I was saying, with coconut alone, we have the oil, coconut oil for eating. It is used in cosmetics. When we have the coconut chaff, which some people throw it away. It is used as feed for animals. We have the waste, which can be used for farm inputs. So that one alone, you can, as a young person, you don't even have to be on the field. You can just get people to get you all this, brand them and sell them, because they solve a sustainable issue in our community, which is farm yield. If you are facing, you have issue with your crops not growing well, cocoa pits can solve that issue. Now, another thing, I'm still on the mindset issue, because in 2019, we did a project with Africa Youth Movement, and the project is Sexy Farming, where we try to make farming appealing to the young people. It was a full social media advocacy where young people share their stories, why they can't be farming. It's so sad that majority of the stories that we read, they were all like, no, like, I'm a first-class student, why should I go into farming? But like I said from the beginning, we all eat. So if you don't want to at least go into it, use the knowledge to train your communities. And while training them, don't forget the sustainable aspect of it, because our lives, our progress depends on sustainability. While you are training them, make sure that the work they do don't harm the society. Make sure that the work they are doing don't harm the environment, so that the future generation will have issue with implementing the same projects. So, like I said, everything we do, let's keep sustainability in mind, because when our activities are not sustainable, it also makes the impact questionable. Because when we talk of sustainability, it is looking at the long-term goal. How long can this project serve people for a very long time, so that future generation that will come will also benefit? So this is it. And I want to touch on one last thing, that farming or going into food is not a job reserved for young people who don't do well in school. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much for
Nana, I just wanted to say something
Sure, go ahead.
that caught my attention when you were speaking. First, it's I've never ever had you said, I don't know, you said sexy agriculture or sexy
farming. Yeah.
Yes. And then the second thing is that I wonder if the reverse is also true, because you said, you know, food insecurity, but the opposite might also be true, where we see other continents battling with obesity just because of poor agriculture as well.
Wow. I'm really grateful that even as you were winding up your discussion, I caught up something which was quite fascinating, that farming is not only a resolve for the underperforming individuals or average students, but it's a collective individual that everyone should take pride in. And that's something that I really cherish and even carry on with me as Hudson back here in my community. On to the next panel, I have Sifa, who's an agriculture influencer. And we know in the recent time, the digital platform and social media has been a voice of reason more so for the young people. And also not just in terms of showcasing their ideas, but also sharing the incredible initiatives they are undertaking. Do we think that in this era that we are having this digital transformation, is it right for us to have this shift more so with regards to sustainable agriculture, you know, being a tool of reference more so with the digital advocacy for the young people? And how should we go about that, being that being that yourself is a digital influencer in the same field?
Wow, okay. That's a very good question. Yeah, I don't know how I'm going to say that in a few minutes, but I'm going to try my best. Yeah, as now already mentioned, for too long, farming has been considered as a dirty job for poor, for illiterate, for old, as well as something that is low tech and unprofitable. But today, digital platforms are helping to divide the story through X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, all those social media platforms, even on WhatsApp. We highlight that farming is not just something outdated, but as innovative, profitable, and essential for sustainable development. For land agriculture influencers and other influencers, we turn technical data into relatable stories. As you said, we share climate smart livestock practices, youth-fed poultry farms, integrated farming models to fight malnutrition and protect environment, and practical tools for farmers to practice so they can make profit all the way at home. So these stories reach people who may never attend the workshop, who have never read the research papers, but those who are on digital platforms and are inspired by someone like me or like them, seeing them succeeding in farming. I know most of people are using digital platforms from WhatsApp because that's where we always chat. Then you go to Facebook, to Instagram, and everywhere. Everyone, most of people are on social medias, and not every extension services provider are reaching to those people in rural villages. But you find most of them on Facebook, to say. So that's where they go to learn how to do something practically, and then they go back home and practice that. So I've even seen this firsthand. I shared videos of poultry farms, and then I received messages from young people who started their own agribusiness because of that inspiration. That's the power of mindset shift. So digital platforms also create learning spaces without borders. And through those short videos, as I said, farmers from different regions can exchange ideas and co-create knowledge. As influencers, we simply conflict information and break stereotypes and make agriculture accessible and exciting as it is. So in short, Digital platforms and influencers help with awareness, and awareness that leads to action. So that's how we transform agriculture from tradition into innovation, and how we build truly sustainable communities through green innovation. Thank you so much.
Wow, thank you so much. And you just talked about that, and most of us here in this call are ardent users of social media platforms. And in a minute or so, I would love, to just give the floor to the panelists to just respond. How effectively are you using your social media to be able to integrate your local solutions as you're tying them to the sustainable development goals achievement globally, and more so connecting and championing the voices? Yes, engineer,
I'll
go
go
ahead.
first. I am a millennial, so a borderline. So I would say I use my social media a lot. I use my LinkedIn a lot. I like to tell stories, women's stories, youth stories. And I think I had a presentation that will go up. And as you look at the photos, you'll notice that I like to take images of doing the construction in sustainable ways, but seeing the people as well. I use Facebook, not too active on Instagram, but Facebook, WhatsApp, and LinkedIn. All you will see on my post is construction, people building, Africans building. I'm a very proud African. I like to show what women can do, what young people can do. Thank you, Hudson.
Wow, thank you so much for the wonderful
That brings
work
smile
that
on my
you do. Yes, Olumide.
Yeah, thank you very much. That is how my journey started. So everybody just type Mr. Climate on all the social media. You'll be able to see me. I have a lot of followers. That's what I used to champion my conversation. I remember 2013 when I started an initiative called Climate Wednesday. So every 3 p.m., 6 p.m. on Wednesday, we talk about issues that is affecting young people on climate change. And we have been doing that for the past 10 years now. One thing again, I just want to say is that, people talk about funding for young people. One of the biggest channel or platform for us as young people to actually amplify our voices and talk about the issue that is affecting us, because it's an open source, is actually the social media. And that is why it's a very powerful tool to actually express yourself, tell your story, and know that, a single story can turn ideas into opportunities. And social media have been able to drive that communication. And just don't forget that a lot of young people are making money through social media. A lot of people are creating content. Now the buzz of TikTok is there. People are actually using TikTok to talk about climate change, coming up with different skits, different comedy. And it is one of the way, rather for you to be using celebrity, you can use your social media to also start amplifying those voices, and not only leaving the voices on social media, to also act now and build the future that we want to see. Thank you so much.
Wow. Last panel to respond onto that before we jump onto the next activity. Okay. To our last and the final panelist, Traore. Are you with us?
Yes, I'm right here with you.
Okay, thank you. What advice would you be able to give young entrepreneurs looking to match green innovation with community impact? I know there is the aspect of the green innovation, but also the integration of community with these emerging technologies. How best can we harvest these talents, but also their meaningful engagement with this transition?
So what I can add to those sort of my friends who have already developed the subject is that you should see environments, the nature, not only to be preserved, but also as a business. The environment, the nature can actually be a source of incomes for the youth and also for the community. For example, at Aero Alliance, for us, we develop an inclusive value chain around agroforestry species. So what we do, as my colleague said, that they make agriculture sexy. For us, we make tree planting sexy and attractive by training, yes, by training women and youth on planting trees. And we don't choose any trees. We definitely have native trees, but we choose trees with a very rapid outcome, like such as moringa. So we've started with moringa because in just 3 months, just imagine 3 months, the seedling can grow and produce leaves. So once they plant the trees, in 3 months' time, we come back to them and we teach them on how to harvest it, how to dry it, and we purchase all the leaves that they have produced. So that's additional incomes for them, and that's raw material for our company. And we process this raw material into different products, into tea, powder, we also produce the oil that's from the seed. The seed is after five months after planting. So we also make moringa oil, moringa soap, moringa spices, even moringa honey that we commercialize. So that's in circular economy that we are creating around agriculture and around agroforestry. Because in Mali, we noticed that people are rather used to cut trees rather than planting them. So when they plant the trees, they just in their mind is like, yeah, I'm just planting a tree just to plant a tree. But we are bringing another idea that by planting trees in just 3 months, we can get outcome out of it. And the other good news is they can harvest it up to 6 times a year, even during dry season. So environment, nature can actually be an asset that can bring a lot of initiative, a lot of innovation. Today we have moringa, but we are also introducing other species, and our products are commercialized in Mali, in Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire, Burkina, France, Germany, USA. And all these products are seen as a premium ones. And at the same time, the money collected by processing, by selling all these processed products, are returned back to the community. What we do, our ambition by 2030 is to plant 10 million trees to empower over 15,000 women and young farmers to grow the trees and to integrate tree-based products to the daily diet of every Malian, every Sahelian, every African. And by the governmental on climate change, IP, if not drastic actions are not taken, the Western Africa will be forced to migrate to other areas. So that's another huge problem that we are trying to avoid. We have climate change, the effect of climate change. We also have the effect of desertification, of deforestation that we are addressing. But we need more youth to do agroforestry, more youth to see the potential. Digital is definitely important. But before the digital, we need to plant the trees and also be able to access them, to also access carbon credits, to also process the product, and at the same time to also save the degraded lands, because lands are more and more degrading because of the use of pesticides, because of over agriculture, over production, and also because of the effect of climate change. So by investing, by doing entrepreneurship on agriculture, we address all these issues at the same time, and we get money. Guess what? We started in 2021, and we made $2,000. We say, wow, great! So this thing works actually. So in 2022, we made 10 times what we made last year, $20,000. This is just in selling the seedlings, then so by selling the processed products. And in 2023, we went to 80,000 US dollars. And last year we made 150,000 US dollars. Just to tell you that this thing really works. It really works. And the young people can actually do many things on agriculture and combine tree planting, digital tools, technology to actually address desertification, deforestation, women poverty, even malnutrition, and be profitable at the same time.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Traore, for speaking passionately about the value chain that lies within the agroforestry system, and being so passionate and bold on the initiatives that you've been able to do and even the success that you've been able to achieve. And that really shows the effect of how young people are really taking up spaces and also boldly, increasingly and increasingly supporting and, advancing these solutions to support and highlight the green innovation component. And, recently we've realized that young people continentally, in the continent are emerging as, sustainability advocates and also champions. And we've seen them coming up with solutions more so with regards to sustainability and also the green innovation transition component. But what stands aside or stands, to be the major impediment is the issue of financing, as they continue to champion these solutions or problems to address what is happening at the local level. How best can we be able to solve these issues or raise the specific problems that young people are facing and the challenges? How best are we able to tackle the challenges and the gaps that have been identified? Yes, and this will be just a general question. I know, Olumide, you've been vocal about youth empowerment, and not just youth empowerment, but meaningful youth empowerment. How best are we able to really solve these issues, more so with the youth-led initiatives in terms of, financing mechanism?
Okay, thank you very much. Like I mentioned when I was talking about the social media, I said, funding has been a major problem. Financing has been a major problem for young people to drive their, initiatives, their program. But my last colleague that just spoke, now you can see dedication, time, and investment from little they have actually helped them to grow. But when you're looking at it from the point of international donors, or we are looking at it from the point of government support to improve businesses, then we see that there's a lot of issues when for us to access financing. And one of the biggest problem here is, and I'm not saying this to belittle some of the young people that we've seen in the space. It's very clear that some young people have actually made the financing, access to finance, very hard for people, because most of them have not been able to account for the money they've been getting to support their businesses or their program. Then secondly, we have different access to finance. When you look at the UNFCCC, you look at the Green Climate Fund, you look at the, most especially the Green Climate Fund, even in the country level, we have what we call the small grant program. How much have we been able to access this kind of fund? Do you know the reason why? Because to access this fund is very tedious. Even the application process for young people that is just starting an initiative, for him to bring sort of document, it's a process. So there's need for them to simplify the application processes for young people, so that there's also going to be a monitoring and evaluation process, so that young people will be able to access, utilize the funds, and be able to report back with a monitoring and evaluation processes Another thing again is that a lot of leaders they've seen young people as the only thing we want is money. Rather, we are almost 80% of the population of every country that we see in Africa. So why are they now saying no to the upcoming generation that's supposed to have this opportunity to be able to invest in themselves, build entrepreneur, act on supporting women, supporting girl child, and be able to, build more people. Like I said, a single story can change the narrative of every advocacy. A single story can put you in a way whereby you will not be looking for finance again. Finance will be looking for you. In the sense that there's going to be a lot of recommendation.
Sorry, Olumide. I'll have to.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
We have also to just get to interact with our audience from the Facebook and Instagram pages, and just also to just highlight a few sentiments from our audience. I have Fini Laura saying that digital tools are opening new doors for African youth, bridging the gap between talent and opportunity. The future is online and it's African. Hashtag Young Africa Works. I have the second statement goes by, incredible to see young Africans transforming farming through climate smart techniques. These stories are proof that green innovation is already here. I also have Dismas KE. It's inspiring to witness young Africans revolutionizing agriculture with climate smart methods. Their success shows that green innovation is already making an impact. And finally, I have Elkana Mbaka. This conversation is a wake-up call. Youth aren't just the future. They are the now of climate solutions. Young Africa works. Hashtag. And so that is, as you can see, we are having a live engagement with our audience. And, as I'm following through, I have some simple questions that have been raised from the audience. And I would really love us to, to respond to such questions, because the audience are keenly following and they are attentive to actually know what next after this conversation and what comes out of these deliberations that we are having today, because they want to see this conversation shift from words to action. So I have the first question from Simpet Rahim. How can government and private sector partners better support youth-led green initiatives across Africa? And yeah, in a minute, I'll request Olumide to respond, as Nafofo will jump in for a minute. Yes. Go.
Sorry, how can
governments and private sector partners better support youth-led green initiatives across Africa? That's a question from one of the audience attending the session from Facebook.
Yeah, from my own understanding, and
in a minute.
Yeah, from the point of supporting young people, I think there should be a bottom-top approach in somebody. I'm looking at local-driven initiative. Private sector should start looking at entrepreneurs that are producing environmental friendly products that can support the growth of a community. And the government need to now, make business more easy for young people. Tax, there's a way they can do the tax for young people to be able to make them to run their business in a way that, and they should provide incentives for businesses that are striving and are supporting growth in the economy. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And back to Sifa. How can young innovators in rural Africa access funding to implement sustainable green solutions in their communities? That is a question from one of the followers from Facebook.
Now,
yeah.
Now, wanted to jump in. Let's have first speak and then I'll come.
Sure. And so, Thomas, please, instead of 1 minute, just give me 2, because I want to create a scenario.
1 minute. We have to.
Okay. Yeah. So when we talk of private and government collaboration, normally we young people, we look at funding. And seriously, we don't need funds from the beginning if you want to solve a solution. But you ask somebody, how much do you need? And we don't even know how much we need. We don't even know what we are going to use the money for, okay? You've identified a problem in a community. Go to the community people. Let the community own the problem. Let them identify solution to this problem. Said that from the beginning to the end of initiating this project and handling it, the community are involved. When it comes to, we are going to clear the land, don't go and get money and buy cutlass for them. They own cutlasses. Let them use their own cutlasses to clear the land. Let them use their own energy to dig a hole. Let them do everything. Said that at the end of it, they own it. This way, sustainability is ensured. They will not just leave it because we were just here and you came to do this for us. It is them. They did it. You involved them. They were there from the beginning. Their decisions were taken into consideration. They used their energy, their resources, their time to do everything. Then when you have done this and you want to expand it, you can write a proposal to government, or you can even use your local authorities, the leaders, the chiefs, this thing. Let them go to the your town councils, your district offices, and pitch to them, this is what we have done. How are you supporting us? And if the government supports such initiative, you, the government, you are not doing the individual a favor. You are actually collaborating with them to grow the community, to grow your country, which in a way also affect the continent in a positive way. So when we talk of collaboration with government and the private sector, you as an individual, start something on your own before. Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Thank you so much, Nana, for the wonderful presentation. And now I give the floor, Sangwa, to respond to the initial question.
Yes, the initial question was asking about how the youth can access green economy.
Sure, yes.
Okay, I think they can do that by gaining what we call green skills, like sustainable farming, renewable energy, and eco-entrepreneurship. Like for us in Rwanda, there is TVATs, there are also local trainings and mobile platforms. That's why I say that digital tools always has the open doors and the apps that helps them make a climate-related decisions and reach markets. So forming youth cooperatives, especially those from rural areas, allows them to share resources and attract fundings for green projects. And yeah, there are many funders who are supporting the green project, and access to youth-friendly finance is key to relaunching the green startups. So they should engage in policy and advocacy platforms to shape greener future. And lastly, blending indigenous knowledge with innovation that gives rural youth a powerful and culturally rooted path into green economy. So blending that traditional ways into modern ways, that's where they'll be able to make it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And now back to Segero, Esther Segero. There's a question from one of the followers from Facebook, and it's a money asking, what roles can schools and local communities do to support youth-led initiatives in green transition? Yes.
I think the first one I would say is shaping new generations. This is something that Sweden does perfectly. You see, like some of the ideas that the panelists have given, what they've talked about, the schools and the communities have to be educated. Once they are educated, we inculcate these values in them. We put the values to the young, very, very young Africans, that you can use local material. You do not need to get rid of all trees when you're building. You can back what you're doing on nature. You can recycle, you can reuse, you can look at different ways of doing things. And then when we use the community and the schools and educate them, we then make a further step, because now we are upskilling the future workforce. And what happens when we upskill the future workforce? We also end up affecting policy change, because the young people that are in school, the communities are the same people that are going to end up at levels where they have to create policy. Some of the images you're seeing on the screen, it's just use of local material. Anywhere I go, when I start to build, I always try to look for the local material. Where there is timber, I will use timber. Where there is stone, I'll use stone. I'm not going to try and import things from very far away. And because of that, we end up educating the community, upskilling the community, giving communities jobs, and then in that way, and finally affecting or bringing change through policy as well. Thank you, Hudson.
And maybe I'll have final parting shots from the panelists, maybe just to express yourself about the discussion and what you are hopeful for and what you are actually, looking forward to in terms of advancing these conversations. And I'll begin with Sangwa, Sifa.
Thank you so much, Hudson. This was insightful. I actually learned, I think, more than other people did. And I loved how Engineer Sejero, now for everyone, Oromide, they are into sustainable development. And that's what we, as youth, because we are there now, we have to think about, because the future is ours and it's up to us to shape it. So I'm looking forward to hear from different speakers as this happens every month, and I really loved it. So please, panelists, let's follow each other. Let's learn from each other. The digital platforms are there. So are we. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And I have now Olumide.
Yeah, thank you very much. I would just say that African youth passions and participation in climate change policy and action actually indicates a promising trend, towards the conversation of sustainable future. So we need to start looking at how we can start addressing their, needs and amplifying their voices so that we can realize their full potentials as a change agent for the African continent. So it's time for African youth to create that movement, turn into awareness and action, then build an investment opportunity to encourage everybody to be who they want to be in their community. Thank you very much.
And now I'll have Engineer Segero taking the floor.
Thank you so much. I don't think Sangwe was right. I feel like I have learned the most on this panel. I'm so grateful. And it just got me thinking, just this panel, first of all, to thank MasterCard and to thank the Young Africa Works and Connect very much. But when we look at our history as Africans, when you go to the time when different countries were trying to get independence, you will get that the freedom fighters and the revolutionaries were youth leaders. At whatever point they started, they were youth leaders. When you look at the South Africa, Steve Biko was a youth leader. And what they did most was to share knowledge. So such forums as put together today by MasterCard Foundation is very important, that we stay connected as young people across the continent. And this has just been fantastic. Thank you, MasterCard Foundation. Thank you, Young Africa Connect.
Wow. And I'll have Na Fofo.
Okay, so just like the name of this project, Young African Work, I'm telling Young Africa that we should start working. And the name of this very conversation we are having, Young African Connect. Young Africans, let's connect. Let's leverage tech innovation. Let's connect. Let's stop overthinking of how things will go. How are we going to solve this problem? When you have the idea, plan and just move. I mean, you don't need all the resources from the beginning to work. Just start, things will unfold, you connect with people along the way, they will brainstorm ideas with you, and at the end, we will see possible impact that we hope to see in the continent. Thank you.
I'll just say thank you for having us. For the online listeners and to our host, we want to say thank you. And we are actually looking forward to having a wonderful moment together post this engagement.